What's up, y'all? Just driving around. Was going to comment on how difficult it is to have discussions with revisionists and people that want to discuss the JQ. Or wait, no, I just contradicted myself. There are people who take a position on the JQ but are hard to have discussions with. We were just supposed to have a matchup on a channel with a couple of these guys talking about the JQ, and they backed out after the original guy backed out. So it's surprising how, for people that supposedly want to discuss these issues and are so distraught because such an unfriendly environment exists, then when somebody competent actually comes along, they don't want to have a discussion, or they're very finicky about having a discussion, or there's so many obstacles and preconditions, etc. It's like, look, if you want to discuss a topic, you just discuss it. You know what I mean? So I think there's a number of reasons for this. It is a difficult topic to discuss because there is a potential backlash for doing it. But I blame the people that have basically discredited themselves for that, not the people that hold those hard feelings. But I think the major reason is their positions are pretty easy to refute and poke holes in by anybody halfway competent. So when somebody halfway competent comes along, they're very finicky about going on stream or discussing. So we had those cancellations for a potential debate by some pretty big name people who argue the JQ. And then I have this comment here. This guy whose name is LOL Cox, he started commenting on how Matt Cockerell is scared to come on the Holocaust Denier Forum, CODOH. It's like Committee for something with denying the Holocaust. So what other people, when you say, hey, let's have a live stream, let's talk about issues, what other group of people are like, hey, no coward, come to this forum, that's where we really dissect issues? And I get some of their points that, you can lay out real facts and data better on a forum. Okay, there's nothing wrong with a forum, but there's nothing wrong with a live stream either. And there's strengths and minuses to both, right? Like, what other subject is there? Like, hey, I do live streams. I want to talk about the conflict in the Ukraine. No, we don't talk about that on live streams. We only do it in forums. Come here in the forum. This is where arguments are really made and broken, you coward. Like, it seems ridiculous, doesn't it? No, I guess there is. You could have cross-medium kind of things, right? Like where a newspaper guy will go and do an interview, because that's done because verbal communication, audio communication, even without video, but video is even more personal. It's the most effective way to communicate, other than in person, I guess. It's the most personal way to communicate information. Yeah, you can't transfer as much information as a download, but it's a quicker form of communication. Yeah, you can't in-depth dissect a report as easily as you could on a forum. But honestly, real time to real time, if you did dissect something, you could probably do it at the same speed, right? Like, they have live streams that are 10 hours long. I don't necessarily advocate those, but you can definitely lay out the issues very well on a live stream. You provide links to go deep in depth. I think it's a great medium for doing it. I think audio only, like radio, podcasts, great medium. Live streams, great medium. Forums is a different style. It's done textually, and or like peer review, that's done textually. There's nothing wrong with that, but you miss something. You miss a lot of context doing it in a forum. So this no-name guy commenting on our thing. We have a no-name guy, and we have the alternative hypothesis, who's a big name, who's afraid to go on streams with us anyway, or with Matt Cockerell. Like, I am not a historian. Matt Cockerell is a historian on the Holocaust and German history. So, most history is, sorry to say, not discussed in these shitty Holocaust forums. They're done in the mainstream. They're done in academia. So it is kind of funny to have these people who complain about not having access and being shunned when they're actually given the opportunity. They're real finicky about coming on. They don't want to come on. And I think it's due to the reasons I listed, but I don't think they want to have a back and forth to arrive at truth. They just want to promulgate their message. So they'll do interviews where they're not going to be challenged or even discussed. Their ideas, analyze their ideas. They just want the platform to be able to push them. And then even debates, they're very finicky about debates. They tend to take debates where they're going to increase their exposure. So this no-name guy who says, debates and verbal discussions have no place for these topics. So what would he say about David Irving then? Because all of his stuff was done. I mean, he was an author, but like all of his public stuff, most of his stuff that got attention was done verbally. And he wanted to debate Deborah Lipstadt famously. And the guy for the Institute for Historical Review, I forget his name, he debated Michael Shermer. They had that famous debate, which wasn't that famous, I guess, but I guess for Holocaust denial stuff, it was famous. Like, most people don't even know about it. So, and all those names are way bigger than Mr. LOL Cox. I don't know who the fuck this guy is. So my question to him is, why did they debate it? Why did they discuss it in public if it's a stupid and not appropriate way to do it? These guys are way bigger names than this fucking guy. So it's just another in the endless line of copes. Like, we're not going to engage you there. You got to come onto our forum and do it. So it's like, nah. If you want to discuss something, you discuss it. If you play games, then you play a shell game where you're like, well, you got to come in here. You got to come in here and do it. And what is he saying? He was asking about mass graves and proof of mass death, basically. And I said, well, Majonic, they put together the ashes that they estimate to be tens of thousands of people. And he said, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about huge mass graves. Okay. Well, I mean, they have those too, but they incinerated a lot, so that's why they have the mass ashes, which are all over the place. But this is what these guys do. They take what's either hard to come by, because they have these mass graves that are buried, but they don't necessarily unearth all of them. See, because most people don't think like these Holocaust deniers, and they're not like, we need to document every single remnant of every single human remain to like prove it to the 99.99999 extent. Otherwise, idiots on the internet won't believe it happened. Well, we don't do that for other events. Like, we don't exhume the mass graves for every fucking event in history. Because we're like, oh, well, if we don't do that, people are going to doubt it happened. So, they have exhumed plenty of mass graves. They have plenty of remains of ashes and bodies and bones or whatever. But they always make a demand that either is impossible to come by, like the Hitler order. That's what Irving did. Like, find me a written order by Hitler ordering the Holocaust. Well, it's like, as far as we know, that doesn't exist, so it's impossible to find. So that's a false flag, red herring. Or they say, like, produce this which doesn't exist, or exist but isn't accessible. I don't think they're going to unearth all these mass graves, but they have a good idea of what's there. So they demand to see that. Oh, just show us that and prove it. Like, come on, guys, just prove it. If you show us that, we'll be good faith and admit you were right. Yeah, okay. Then the goalposts will move and it'll be demanding some other thing. They'll always demand something that you can't produce or is hard to produce, so they can maintain that you don't have the goods. So it's just stupid. I told this guy if he wants to challenge Matt, if he wants to grow some balls, come on stream and stop being a bitch, and Matt will answer any question. Like, you can come up with a challenge, you can come up with a question, just like David Irving did. Yeah, why did David Irving go to Deborah Lipstadt's talk and ask her a question? Why is this coward afraid to do the same thing? Like, he came in, he asked her a loaded question. It's, whatever, the rest is history. And this guy's afraid to do that. No, why would I come on a live stream and ask a question? He's been challenged to come on forums. If he doesn't come on forums, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's a coward. Like, what if we apply that to every other historical event or subject? Just imagine how stupid that would be. Well, you didn't post about this on forums, therefore your opinion doesn't matter. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Okay, moron. Yeah. These guys are way finicky, really hard to get on streams. I'm trying to think if there's any facets to this I didn't cover. Yeah, but I mean, eventually a small number will. You just have to, like, get yourself on a program where you're sort of antagonizing them and they want to interact with you. But they're very finicky. They're like cats, The conditions have to be right for them to feel safe and come cuddle next to you. Whereas dogs, like, they just come up to you no matter what. So, I don't know. I just wanted to comment on that, and then that's about all. So everybody have a good day.